Hi, everybody. Welcome to my Sunday night live. I so appreciate that you are here. If this is your first time here, my name is Anita, and I have lost 145 pounds doing an animal-based ketogenic diet. I'm going to show you my before picture here. So you know I'm one of you. You know that I have been there, done that. Our guest tonight has also been there and done that. And her name is Adrian. She was on, now correct me if I'm wrong, I sort of, was scoping around, finding out information about you. You were on season 3 of The Biggest Loser. And that is a show that for the first couple years, I watched it faithfully. And it was one of those things where, oh, if only I could go on there, that would solve all my problems. Did it solve your problems,
It did
Adrian?
not. It did not. It was a great opportunity, and we can go into that, but it did not solve my root problems.
Okay. So now I I can't remember exact because by season 3 I was fading. My resolve was fading. Like, the first couple of years that show was on, I was like, I got to do this. I got to do this. Like all I have to do is eat less and move more, and that will do it. It's all about calories. If only I had Jillian Michaels screaming at me, my life would be perfect, and I would lose the weight and keep it off forever. And all the times, like because I know that you've done this too, all the times when I went on my dozens and dozens of whatever weight loss schemes they were back then, I think I would hit a goal of some kind for about 5 minutes. And I'm, for some reason, we think this next thing is going to be different. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sorry. I was just watching the show and it makes me emotional to see like how they talk to us. And how after trying so many things and failing at them, I thought that I deserved that. I thought that I was a failure because I tried and failed and tried and failed and tried
Mm,
and failed. And then even going on the show, I had a lot of success. I lost 66 pounds and then I gained 100.
wow.
So again, feeling like a failure. And I know
Yeah.
I've seen so many people out there go and work so hard and lose that weight and share their hope with people and then gain it back and hide just like I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So,
yeah.
yeah. So it was really like joining Weight Watchers or Jenny Craig or any of the other hundreds of things that we've tried. There wasn't, from what I understand, from what I gather from the stories I've heard you talk about, there was no magic here. Like it didn't solve the core issues. Now I don't want to focus on the negative, because I think you also brought home some positive from the show.
hmm
Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So before that, because I'd been overweight my whole life and I had
Mm-hmm.
lost so many times and gained so many times, I just thought this is my level and this is where I'm going to be. And there's no getting above that because this is all that I've ever been. And so I just didn't believe I could ever shoot for the stars. And
Mm,
after being picked out of hundreds of thousands of people applying, it was like, wow, anything is possible. Anything in the world. And I think that was such a gift to get that, to get to experience. It's almost like winning the lottery because
yeah.
you dream that this is going to be this thing and then you actually get it. Another thing was I was big my whole time and I thought, wow, I would love myself and other people would love me too if I could just lose that weight. So I lost all the weight and then I realized, whoa, I still don't love and appreciate myself. And so I had to start doing
Yeah.
some of that work of
Yeah.
I have value no matter what size I am. I am a human. I am God's creation, no matter what size I am. So those are two great gifts that it gave me.
Oh, that's awesome. And you have like an alumni group of some kind too, right? You've made some lifelong friends there. So I'm just going to pull up a couple of pictures so that people have a reference point here. So this picture here, that was your before picture for the show, right?
Yes, and I'm about 227 there.
Okay. And I don't know if I actually have a picture here of, well, I have a picture of you now, but I also have a picture. There it is. I have a picture of you after you came back. Or this is after you came back from the show, losing 66 pounds and then gaining it back, plus some friends, right?
Yes, yes. And so I don't know if we're going to go into this, but my first step onto this road that's been a long road of trying to figure this out was dropping the alcohol. That was my first step in healing and getting better and getting onto a road of health.
Okay.
So you see, that's probably one of my last ever glasses of wine right there.
Is that right? Okay. Well, that's part of your story too, is like you don't drink anymore, from what I understand, right?
No,
I
I'm very
don't.
bad at it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't drink alcohol anymore either. I don't know if I had an actual problem with it, but I just one day decided that was it. I wasn't going to drink it anymore, and I haven't. But I know that some people do that where they transfer addictions from, sugar to alcohol to sugar, gambling, whatever it is. It's addiction plays a part in a lot of these things that go on in our lives, right?
Yeah. So I'm probably 265, 275 here.
Okay, all right. And, here you are now. Let me see. Having trouble keeping track of my pictures here. Okay.
Sorry, so like 100.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
are.
this was last week at the conference.
Yes. Yeah, and sorry, I cropped out those to fit it on the thumbnail, but I think you're standing beside Dr. Westman, right? In that picture, I'm pretty sure. And I don't know who the other person was. I don't remember, but
The producer of Food Lies, I think.
Okay. So very good. So you, I'd like to hear about what happened after the show. You came back, you gained all the weight back, and then you hit some, like you had some real health issues. So why don't we talk about that, and then how you came to where you are now. I'm just going to move that off.
So after the show, I gained my weight back, and that alone is kind of an indicator something's off, because if you're able to gain 100 pounds in a matter of months, your metabolism is off. Your body should be using and discarding energy. I mean, I know I was eating health foods other than that wine.
Yeah.
I was eating, the almond milks and the yogurts and the chia seeds and the salads and the fat-free dressing. I was eating all the health foods, and my body just went, and so that alone to me is like something's off, which makes a lot of sense, because if you lose 66 pounds in 3 months, which I don't remember what percentage that is for a person who started out at 227, that's a high percentage.
Yeah.
Right? Is that like 30%?
That's a lot.
And so that was not good for my metabolism. And when
No.
we left, there was no reverse dieting, there was no psychologist, there was no plan. We're just kind of back in the real world, and it kind of snowballs, especially when you have cameras in your face and and people recognize you. I would go places, mostly in my hometown, and people would be like, "Oh my gosh, there's Adrian! We saw her on TV," and the news was contacting me to do articles and stuff. And here I'm gaining weight and just feeling shame and not responding to anyone, and so that just kind of snowballs that weight gain to begin with. So then we go to get pregnant, and I'm struggling to get pregnant. It took us a year, which I know I have so much compassion for people who it takes longer. I really do. It breaks my heart, because a year was hard. A year was heartbreaking. I can't imagine, how much so many people have been through. But we do get pregnant, and we have our baby, and there's no milk. And I was told I just did it wrong, which in retrospect is crazy, because your body should just start making milk, and mine never did. And I even tried pumping, and like little drops came out. I tried for 6 weeks, nothing but a couple drops came out. My body totally rejected it. We have baby number 2. no milk. Then I end up with a then I quit drinking because I'm like, ooh, that's not good. We've had that in my family. We're not going to have that around the kids. And that's when I start running and restricting again because I'm like, I'm feeling so good. I've quit drinking. I want to change my life. I'm starting to run and restrict again. And this time I get down a little bit, but it stops. And then it starts going up again. And I'm like, I can't do this again. I can't do the up and down again. And so I asked some of my fellow alumni, what did you guys do to keep it off? And some of them said bariatric surgery. So I had
Okay.
gastric bypass. Had I
Okay.
known about carnivore and even animal-based keto, I wouldn't have had the surgery. But I
Mm.
didn't know. I was trying all these low-fat foods and it wasn't working. I was trying the running and it wasn't working and I was starving and I was so tired. So I have the gastric bypass, but that's when I start getting sick. I start getting chronic hypoglycemia, anemia, vitamin deficiencies, autoimmune. I didn't know it was autoimmune, but I just start not feeling well. I'm tired all the time. I'm struggling just to do everyday life. And that goes on for quite a while. I get remarried. I go to have kid number 3. And out of nowhere, we lose our baby at 20 weeks. Out of nowhere.
Oh.
And
Oh,
we're
wow. I'm
told
so
that
sorry.
it was a fluke. Sorry. It's a sad thing to
Yeah.
say, but,
Yeah.
um, it they had no answers for why this just randomly happened, and we had all the genetic testing done, baby seemed fine, and then all of a sudden baby wasn't fine. I'm led to believe now it was all the autoimmune stuff that just was undiagnosed. So we go to have baby number 4, and we struggle again to get pregnant. Again, we do get pregnant, but no milk. Baby number 5, I birth at home in a bathtub, skin to skin for 6 weeks. I make the doctor come to us, the midwife comes to us, everybody comes to us. We're just skin to skin. All food is made. I have all the help in the world. I have all the supplements in the world and no milk. And this is when I'm like, okay, I'm going to lose my mind. Something is up. And I started working with a new practitioner who's like functional medicine, and she ran and saw I had all kinds of autoimmune stuff going on. And
Oh,
that's
wow.
when I was on the hunt. How are we going to fix this autoimmune? And that's how I stumbled upon the carnivore diet because ultimately that's what a lot of people were doing to feel better. So that's how I got here.
Wow. Wow. I I mean that is I'm just a little bit overwhelmed with everything you just said with all the babies and the no milk and everything. By any chance, did you meet Dr. Kiltz while you were in at Hack Your Health?
I did. I would love to ask him more about that.
Yeah, yeah, he's like the fertility guy. Such a nice guy too. Anyways, I digress there. Now when did you start carnivore?
January 2023. It was a
Okay.
year after my baby was born, and I had gone over the line nobody wants to go over. I hit 202 pounds again, and it just wasn't going away. So I was thinking, I'm going to admit something right here I've never admitted before. I saw a bunch of my friends losing weight on that Optivia, and
Mm-hmm.
so I was looking down that route, and it
Mm.
was either go Optivia or go carnivore. And as I looked at the ingredients of Optivia, I was like, this is not going to work. This is
Yeah.
so inflammatory and expensive, and this just doesn't seem like a long-term solution. So I went carnivore. But also my dad, he was really bugging me because he watches Vinny, no grains, no sugar Vinny. And his co-host, forget what her name is. She has autoimmune. And so she was on a primarily meat diet to help with her auto. So my dad was on my shoulder too, going, make a
Okay.
better decision, Adrian. Don't go diet. Go make a health decision.
Okay. So your family is supportive of what you're doing now with the carnivore diet because, many times that's a little bit of a stumbling block for people as well.
Half of my family is very, very supportive, and the other
Okay.
half literally doesn't talk to me anymore and they think I'm nuts.
They actually don't talk to you anymore. Oh,
No, and they don't wanna have anything to do with me talking about this or anything. That's
okay.
fine.
All right.
The people who truly are my close family,
Yeah.
they're supportive. They see how much better I feel. They see that I no longer am afraid to go to the grocery store because I'm gonna get shakes and sweats and pass out. They see me being a better mom, having more energy,
Mm-hmm.
losing weight. My skin is cleared up. I used to itch everywhere. That's so
Yeah.
weird. I used to just like itch everywhere. The itch is gone. So many things have cleared up that the people who love and are the closest to me are very like, good for you. We could never do that, but good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So what does a typical day look like for you,
I eat
carnivore eating wise?
I eat a lot of beef and sardines. So
Okay.
like so I get up and the kids and I go to the gym, and then after the gym is when I usually have my first meal. It's partially yeah.
We're going to
It's
talk
partially
about sardines for a moment after you're done here.
can't
Go
wait.
ahead. Yeah.
Part of the reason I don't eat my first meal until after the workout is because I take thyroid medicine that needs to be on its own. I take my thyroid medicine, we go work
Yeah.
out, then I'll come home. I'll make burger patties for me and the boys. Um, I try to be dairy free because it blows my guts up, and it's so addicting, so good. So I'll have some burger patties. Then a few hours later, maybe another burger patty, maybe some picanha. I'm a huge
Mm,
picanha person. I could eat it for
mm,
every meal. And then
yeah.
dinner could be ground beef, picanha, burger patties. Every once in a while, we'll go out. I'll get burger patties from some fast food chain. I love burger patties at Buffalo Wild Wings. They're so crunchy and delicious, and they charge me an a la carte so far, even though they claim they're getting rid of that.
Oh.
So that's what I eat.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. So, let's talk about sardines for a moment because when I saw this picture, I'm gonna just pop it back up there again. Hang on a second. Yeah, there we go. You sent me a whole bunch of pictures, and I saw that. And I went, "Oh, she likes sardines." I know that you probably talk more about this stuff on Instagram, but I'm just recently learning how to use Instagram thanks to Kelly Hogan. She took a few minutes to teach me some Instagram stuff. And so I miss a lot because I'm just here on YouTube. But now have found out that you are a big fan of sardines, and I'm a huge fan of sardines too. I honestly feel that I'm on a waiting list here in Canada for knee surgery, which I'm kind of 50-50 on now. I honestly think that has helped me. My knee feels so much better. What are your feelings about sardines? I mean, I have people sometimes telling me, "Oh, the mercury, oh this, oh they're in cans, that's going to kill you," blah 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 blah. I feel fantastic. That's all I can say.
I am so sensitive. I mean, I'm talking if meat has been in the refrigerator a couple hours too long, I'm having histamine reactions. I was
Yeah.
recently at a friend's house and I started getting brain fog and anxiety, and so I knew that they had water damage, and they didn't even tell me they had water damage. So I am
Oh.
spidey sensitive, and I can eat these out of the can. My recent one, just to play around with things, I had 10
Mhm.
cans a day. I was a little afraid of the deficit, and so I just ate sardines not at a deficit, and,
Okay.
no reaction, 10 cans, no reaction. Now I like the ones Walmart and water, and now I'm kinda 'cause of Courtney loving the King Oscar skinless, boneless, but before I would never do oil or skinless or boneless because I like that nutrition,
Yep.
and I don't always trust oils, but those are tasty. Have you had them?
Mm. I've had King Oscar, but with the skins and bones. I mean, I choose those deliberately.
Mhm.
So I've
'Cause of the
not.
good nutrition.
Yeah, yeah. I have not tried the skinless, boneless. So.
So I'm gonna go with 20 different sardine challenges. And last summer is when I found out about you because I searched sardines and you came up. And so I listened to your videos and your interviews about it. And that was really helpful and motivating to me. So thank you for being brave enough to do it. As a person with thyroid issues
Hmm.
and inflammation, I have SIRS. The components in sardines, now that I'm looking more and more into it, make me feel amazing. I'm gonna guess it's the selenium, it's the omegas, it's the calcium. Instead of taking the supplement form that's not super
Yeah.
great for us, just that
Hmm.
good, authentic calcium. They make me feel amazing. They give me brain clarity, they give me energy, they lower my glucose, they clear out the extra glycogen I sometimes get from eating way too much meat. They make me feel amazing. And if you are in it for the weight loss, you can't expect it to happen in one sardine fast. You'd want to do like Dr. Boz suggests, which is like 2 or 3 days a week, and you do it repetitively on top of that, managing what you're eating in between. Like
Yeah.
obviously, if you go crazy afterwards. Here's the thing though, I hardly go crazy between because they satiate you even after you stop. Have you
I
found that too?
Yeah, I find that you really get in touch with whether you're truly hungry or not. And the other thing that Dr. Boz has talked about, which I really like, is that if you're thinking about doing an extended fast, say 36 hours, I mean, I can barely do 24 hours, but some people do 72-hour fasts right after they've done a 3-day sardine challenge. So 3 days of sardines
Ah.
helps them get through the 72-hour of water fasting because their ketones are so high, they're feeling good, everything is just primed for that. And the whole, weight loss thing, I mean, metabolic resets like the sardine challenge prime your body to lose weight, down the road, like not those 3 days that you're eating them, or how, I mean, maybe if you ate them for 10 days. I've never even tried or thought about doing 10 days, but who knows? Never say never. But I just feel that it's a good way to prime your body to put it in a better condition to reach your goal of losing weight. And yeah,
100%. And I got to talk to Dr. Boz because I didn't know.
yeah,
She doesn't have a video about the 10-day sardine fast. So
no, I'm
so I
sure.
asked her, I said, "Is 10 days extreme? Like, are we gonna hurt ourselves?" She said, "No, you could do 30 days." And she knows people who have done 30 days whose hormones
Wow.
were really, really off and their hunger cues were way off. And they did that until their body was satiated and realigned. And I have to say, I had done Lion prior to this recent 10 days, and I had gotten to the point I was ravenous and I was so hungry. And it did take like 7 days of sardines before that realigned, but it did. And I
Okay.
thought at 7 days, I was like, I'm just too messed up. There's nothing fixing this. But it did eventually. And then even after I went to Hack Your Health, I was barely hungry at Hack Your Health. So I didn't overeat on vacation, I don't feel at all.
Yeah.
So I thought it was
Yeah.
really helpful.
It is, and I find them really helpful for travel too. Because I mean, last year I drove from Canada to Texas with my son, and I brought cans of sardines with me for the road trip, and it was fantastic. And I bought some along the way because I wanted to try the ones that we can't get here in Canada. Yeah, it was. It's a really good travel food. You can stop at the side of the road, eat your can of sardines, move on. I mean, there's. I don't know. Anyways, I didn't mean to talk about sardines for so
No,
long,
I
but
gotta
I
can I say
thought it
one more
was a good.
thing?
Yeah, you absolutely can.
I've been very fortunate to get to travel a lot in the past year, and every time I'm like, "You know what? I'm just gonna fast in the airport because I don't wanna pay $18 for a burger
No,
patty in the food
exactly.
court,
Yeah.
and I don't know what to bring with me exactly." And so I would try to fast, and every single time I would end up eating something I never eat, that I would never eat at home, like a something with nuts in it. I don't do nuts.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so this time I packed sardine wraps. So it was the sardine salad. So it's like the chosen mayo, avocado mayo with some
Hmm.
mustard and the sardines. And then I put in an egg life wrap and I brought those with me and I had the best trip yet. I was satiated. I was full. I didn't even have any temptation. It was awesome. I'll do it again.
Wow,
Sorry to the
that's
passengers.
yeah, yeah, that's great. I mean, I saw a post somewhere. Somebody actually did take cans on the plane and like to open the can and have on the plane. That is brave. I don't know if
That's brave.
I don't know if I could, brave the reactions of the people in the seats next to me. So I applaud them for that. But, anyways, so here you are. We have that in common. We love sardines. I just yeah, I just wanted to talk about that for a moment. I'm just gonna pop over because we have a few questions that are starting to come. Are you okay to answer a couple of questions?
Yeah, I'll try.
Well, yeah, we'll see what we have here. Okay, so True Fly Fox says, "My first live, so excited! Oh, so nice to have you.
Yay.
Thank you for coming." Okay, here's one. This one's for both or either of us. Have either of you had a problem with under eating? This is from Christy. I can't exercise due to an Achilles heel bone surgery in 2 weeks, so I'm restricting my calories not to gain weight. Okay, so a couple of things here. I don't normally have a problem with under eating, and I have a problem with calorie restricting as you're heading into a surgery. But Adrian, I think maybe you could take this one because you have had that issue with under eating. So go
So
ahead.
currently, it's really difficult for me to undereat at all just because I know my pattern. I know that when I undereat, it triggers that primal part of my brain to want to binge eat. And the last thing in the world that I want to do is not have peace with my food. So
Hmm.
it's a tricky one. And Robert Sykes at this recent conference, he said one thing to do would be maybe to portion your food out, pre-make it and portion it so you make sure you're having enough, but you're at a tiny deficit you want to be at. And then it takes away the indecision fatigue and it'll help you stay on your goal. Kelly says to stay within 10 to 20% of your
Yeah.
TDEE. You go outside of that, you're going to start not have not a great metabolism, not a great long
Yes.
term.
Yes. I agree with that, and I think sometimes under eating, like if I accidentally undereat, for example, I'm really busy and a meal is missed, heaven forbid. I mean, that starts talking to my brain back there that says, "Ooh, you missed a meal. You deserve blah blah blah. You should have blah blah blah." Like that lizard brain or the addictive brain
Trickery.
can really start playing with you. Um, but Christy, with you having surgery, I would really prioritize your protein coming into that surgery, and after as well, just so because you want to be in good nutritional condition when you're going into a surgery and for recovery after. So, I'm a little concerned that you're restricting calories now when you want to be feeding your body. And I'm just like, that's just my opinion. So take it for what it's worth. Okay, so here's another question from Joanne. Hello from Australia. How did you give up the wine? I'm going to start carnivore tomorrow. Yay. But it's hard to stop the wine. I have failed carnivore many times after a couple of days because of wine. You want to say did you have a strategy or did it just happen gradually, Adrian, when you stopped drinking?
I For many years of my life, I had a person who really struggled with alcoholism
Mm-hmm.
that was a caregiver for me. And so when I had my kids, my why to quit was so deep that I went into a 12-step program. And
Okay.
it doesn't necessarily sound like that's where you're at. From us. It doesn't sound like maybe that's not the same path for you, but I guess what would be your path would be what is your why? Like
Yeah.
really, really, really writing that down and digging into that. And then that should help motivate you to just not do it anymore.
Yeah. I think you're right. I mean, I did not quit alcohol because I felt I had an addiction, but it is tied to my why. I took care of my mother while she had dementia the last few years of her life, and while she didn't have a drinking problem that caused it or anything, everything I've read says that there is a link between how much you drink and your risk of dementia and Alzheimer's. And after watching her go through what she went through, I made the decision based on that. That is part of my why. I never want to have, I just never want to have any risk of dementia. If there's any risk I can mitigate So alcohol is a big one, and so are inflammatory foods and sugar and all the it's they call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes now. And so any going carnivore is the least inflammation possible for your brain and your body. And so I feel like it's my best chance, because I fear dementia after seeing what my mom went through. It's my best chance to avoid it is to keep eating my meat, keep eating my animal fat, stay away from alcohol, sugar, all those things. It's really the why in there for me is quite strong. And so Joanne, if you can find something to hang on to help you give that up, do it if you can. It'll be so worth it in the end.
And
Thanks
once
for
you
your
get some
question.
momentum under your belt,
Yeah.
when you go back, I've heard people say, I just don't even like the way I feel anymore. So you
Yeah,
just need to get some momentum, and then it'll and then you'll feel it more, and you won't want to feel like that anymore.
absolutely. Okay, thanks for that question. Disonye, I met Adrian last week. Austin, we talked about Fargo. You darn tootin' we did. Oh, I love that movie. That is such a great movie. Okay, Valerie, can I do anything to combat the histamine reaction to sardines? Now, Adrian, you said that you sometimes have histamine reactions to things, but you did not have it to sardines.
Yeah, and that puzzles my nutritionist as well. But I think it's because I stick to the ones in water and they're not smoked.
Okay.
If I do start having some reactions, I take a DAO enzyme to help break that down. It's like our buckets get too full and we got to break that bucket down and then we can have some more, I think.
Okay.
So
All right.
it really doesn't, I think it's because I stick to the ones in water, not smoked.
That's a good point, because a lot of people on my sardine challenge video would ask about the smoked sardines. They like the taste better. And so I guess those are okay if you do not have histamine issues. But thank you for for mentioning the smoked ones, because that is a problem definitely for people with histamine issues. And I suppose that one could also do fresh sardines, if you can get them. That might help. Okay, exchange student. I made your egg bread today. The egg loaf. Wonderful. I love that stuff. It's a new addiction for me. Just Jason Keto gifted a membership. Thank you, Jason. That is so kind of you. Janessa. Okay, I have I don't know how to pronounce that word.
Hiatal.
Hernia problems, and I cannot eat large meals without having gut pain and heartburn. Any suggestions for getting enough to eat in 3 meals? You could spread them out a little bit more, maybe. They're really, you have to do what you have to do sometimes. Do you have any suggestions, Adrian, for that?
So I had hiatal hernia repair, and I don't know if
Oh,
they got too close to my stomach or what, but if my stomach gets too full, I get in a lot of pain too. So for me, I have to chew, chew, chew. And sometimes I add extra, I know some people have issues with this, but like melted butter to help things move smoothly so there's no clots and no big bulges of food that would disrupt that hernia. So I would make sure that it's
okay.
going down smoothly. And I mean, maybe you can even try more of like Anita's pemmican bar. Um, Stuff like that's going to melt and go through your system a little bit better.
Okay. Okay. That's a good suggestion about the chewing. So I don't know if you've ever, like, I know you're in Kelly's group now too, and Danny Conway has suggested that when we're eating steak or any of that kind of food, we should be chewing it 30 times so that it's almost liquefied when we swallow it, and that will aid our digestion a lot better. So I think in this case that could be very helpful. And I, if you do need to maybe go to 4 meals, I mean, I'm sure that would be okay too. We get whatever our issues are, if there's a way to mitigate it, sometimes we just have to do it. And not, I mean, I sometimes have trouble getting enough protein in for 2 meals. And so I kind of switch back and forth. Sometimes I'm doing 3, sometimes 2. Nothing wrong with 4, though, if you need it. So, but thanks for the question. This question is, what is a symptom of histamine issue? Do you want to address that? Because I don't have histamine issue, so
It can be
don't.
different for everyone, but I'll get like my skin will start burning and it'll get really red and inflamed. For a while, my histamine bucket was so full that I would get this lightheaded feeling like a cloud. Sometimes my arms and legs would go numb. I saw recently a friend, she broke out all over her body. It's kind of like an allergic reaction. I mean, I think pretty similar, but it could be many different things because it causes inflammation somewhere in your body. So my histamine reaction is going to be different than yours.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of imagined that it could be like an allergic reaction. I mean, because you go to the store and buy antihistamines to reduce swelling, if you have an allergic reaction to, say, a mosquito bite or something. And so it always made me think of an allergy. But I don't think taking an antihistamine is the answer in this case. So,
Yeah. So sometimes I take the DAO enzyme and it's made a big difference.
okay. All right. Okay. So, what do you think about, maybe just talking about some of the things you've learned on the way on your carnivore journey, like maybe some things that you thought in the beginning that now it's not really true, or something you wish you had known. Like let's hear some of the things that you've learned and some of your tips and things.
You're making my heart pump.
Oh, I'm so
So
sorry.
the one thing that, why the restricting and running didn't work before is because I
Hmm.
never got to be full and I was constantly trying to train myself to accept being hungry. And that if
Okay.
I couldn't just sit with my hunger, then there was something wrong with me and I just needed to be stronger. But for some reason, I always failed at being hungry. And so, like, I would, let's say, restrict my calories all day, low fat, low calorie. And then at the end of the day, I'd be like, oh, I'm just so hungry. And so I would sit and just like munch on lettuce because it was free, but there was just this hunger inside me that just built up. And so with carnivore, I learned that it's okay to be full and that I
Mm,
can get full eating these nutrient dense foods. These, specifically beef is great for being full. Sardines are great for being full. Eggs are great for being full. Being full is a great and natural thing. And I don't think we should be fighting being hungry all the time. I think that's
yeah.
that's my biggest thing that just makes my heart so happy is I was a little kid overweight and I was being told to just be hungry. And that created
Mm,
very disordered thinking that there was something wrong with me. And so my son is struggling with weight and I tell him, listen, let's just focus on the meat. You can be full. I'll make you a 6 egg omelet with sausage and bacon in it. But let's focus on the meat and let's focus on moving every day. Ooh,
mhm.
another lesson since going carnivore was even in the beginning of carnivore, I was running. I was still running half marathons and I was doing these workout classes where you like lift muscles really fast, lots and lots of weights nonstop for 45 minutes. And at the end, you kind of want to throw up. Now I walk and it feels good. And I
Okay.
lift at my own pace, like 5 exercises, three sets, 2 to 3 times a week. And I've finally seen muscle change. And I recently had a DEXA and my body fat did go down and 6 to 1 I lost body fat to muscle. So I think that's pretty good. That to
Yeah.
me is like this is so much healthier than restricting, than surgeries, than all the things when you're losing
Yeah.
like what is it? What are the statistics? 60 to 80% of what you're losing is actually muscle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Okay.
then the next thing is I used to be so upset with myself if I overate. Now I feel like, wow, I bet my metabolism is really happy. I bet my body feels like, oh, she's nourishing me. There's plenty of food. We're going to be okay. My body feels safe. My body feels nourished. My metabolism can go up. So those are some of the things.
Yeah, I really feel like I've had a bit of a shift there as well. I used to get really upset when I had, the dreaded weight loss stall. And now I kind of feel like, this is a good thing because I spent my whole life either going down the scale or racing back up the scale, never stable. And now if I go for 3 months without losing anything, I'm maintaining a very large weight loss. That is something that never happened for
Mm-hmm.
decades of my life. And so when, I just feel like this is nothing to be upset about. This is something to actually celebrate. It's a win. Maintaining weight is a win. And
Amen.
yeah, yeah. It was not easy to get to this mindset, but I feel like I'm there, and I'm at that point where I'm almost at my goal weight. Sometimes I just want to be at my goal weight, but I also realize, wow, come a long way, and it'll happen. My body will do what my body's going to do if I just keep eating the beef, eat the sardines. you know, it'll definitely happen. And that actually reminds me of another question I wanted to ask you. Do you do any intermittent fasting?
I do because I have the SIRS and I have the long haulers, and they
Okay.
say that this is really good for um, repairing your brain. And so I definitely
Oh,
do shoot for an eating window every day. And honestly, before starting my SIRS medicine, I did do some fasting and it felt amazing to me.
okay.
With the hypoglycemia, that means my insulin is way off. My body's not responding appropriately to food. It's probably the surgery. The food's going in too fast. We shoot a bunch of insulin. It doesn't feel good. It's horrible for your mitochondria, your nervous system, everything. So it's just nice to give your body a break and to
Okay.
just let the insulin go away and just rest, and it does feel good. Do you do that too?
Well, I've started, so I did some for a while, and then I went back to 3 meals a day, and I felt recently like I was starting to eat too much again, and I decided, okay, I think I'm going to go back to 2 meals a day. So I've been fasting 16 to 18 hours a day, and it's feeling pretty good. I'm enjoying it. So, I like to get other people's feelings about it and if they've had any success with that or not. But
And I have to get 3 to 4 meals in that window because even though my stomach has gotten so much better since being carnivore, at first I couldn't eat scrambled eggs, I couldn't eat hamburger, it hurt my stomach
oh,
so bad.
oh,
But now I can eat those things, but I still can't eat like enough. So I do need to have multiple meals.
so you're spreading it out. So your window, how big is your window then?
8 to 16.
Okay,
8
all right,
8 on, 16 off. It's
okay.
not the biggest window in the whole wide world, but it's a start.
No,
And then
no,
when I move
that's
off of this
great.
medicine, I hope to work on that some more.
Okay, all
And
right,
I think I'm getting there.
okay.
And
Yeah, go ahead.
back on the last one, I'm sorry to just say this again, but people like Kelly Hogan give me hope that I could totally be stalled for 2 years, and that's just a healing, repairing, and restoring period, and
Yeah,
then we can just
yeah,
keep going if
yeah,
if our body wants us to. And
yeah.
I think that it might.
I think sometimes it does. It's one of those things where we don't know what's going on under there, and I spent 60 years of eating sugar, abusing my body, and so it's gonna take. It takes what it takes sometimes, and yeah, I mean, I really hope people get that message that it's a journey. It's like a long haul thing. It's not, we're going to start this thing and 6 months later we're going to be completely at our goal weight and that's it. We live happily ever after. It's not really like that. It's more nuanced than that, I think.
Even
There's
even the healing takes more time than that.
Yeah, Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I'm going to go back to some questions. There's all of a sudden there's a whole bunch more questions piling up here. Let's see. So, Marianne Williams. Oh, I'm glad you received that. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Very curious to learn more on the histamine issue. Any recommendations on videos or books? Have you seen anything like that for
I
just
was just
Susie?
learning from Michaela Peterson's account because she really struggled with that, and she's the one that guided me to the
Oh,
DAO enzyme.
okay. All right, Michaela Peterson, and just for general carnivore and motivation and everything, she's definitely a good one to listen to. Uh,
And Judy
Very,
Cho.
oh, Judy
Sorry,
Cho,
I
of
forgot.
course.
Judy Cho as
Yes,
well.
yes, yes. Lynn Williams, have you heard of MCAS? Reaction to food is common. Do you have asthma? I'm not
I
familiar
did have
with.
terrible asthma prior to carnivore, and it is gone.
Oh, yay!
I
That's so
I
wonderful.
I can't explain it. I still carry an inhaler with me just in case, but I haven't had a single asthma attack, not one, since going carnivore.
Wow, that's amazing. Louisia Miller, have you corrected insulin resistance number? I guess she's asking if you've ever, if you know your number and have improved that number.
I wish the doctors would have run that. They kept running my fasting glucose and going, "You're fine." And I'm like, I swear, I was shaking and sweating in the grocery store yesterday. I'm not fine. There's something up here. And that's the only number they ever ran.
Yeah, yeah.
I do know that I've got a continuous glucose monitor on. Dr. Boz gave away 50 of them at the conference. And my blood sugar, which isn't the same as the insulin, has been incredibly consistent. So the numbers are showing exactly how I feel with eating the
Mm.
meat. My blood sugar is solid. And I mean, of course, we don't get to see the insulin, but I
Yeah,
feel like since I'm not diving, that the insulin has to be better.
yeah. Well, yeah, there's a number of things that we do to correct our insulin level and so some people do mistakenly think that if they're checking their blood glucose that's the same as their insulin, but it isn't. The insulin is more of a long-term number, so it's good to know what it is. Here in Canada, they don't run that test at all. I mean, if they do an A1C, which is your 3-month average, if it's even just pre-diabetic, you'll be lucky to fight for a fasting insulin test from the doctor. Like they're like, oh no, it's fine. I don't know why they don't want to run that number. Okay, I've got some more questions here. Okay, so there's 2 questions here that are both about hair loss. So they're kind of related to each other. Ketovore Crystal, do either of you suffer hair loss? I'm having a lot of hair loss. Eating ketovore, meat heavy. Thanks for your input. And there was another similar question of some Megan who did 3-day sardine fast over the last 2 weeks. Notice she's shedding hair. Could it be the diet from the quicker weight loss? I kind of think for me, and I'll let Adrian answer in a second. It has come and gone. So I think anytime you change your diet, there's going to be changes, and it could trigger some hair loss. I've had that a couple of times. It's always been temporary, and then I have none. Right now, I'm going through a period where I have none. And I think Dr. Boz had a video about it, and she explained the cyclical nature of your hair and how it grows, and so loss can be normal. So Adrian, but I'll let you answer if you've had any issues with hair loss.
My hair loss story is a big pile of mud. Like, we can't tell. I couldn't tell you exactly what the problem is, but I can tell you. So I have thyroid issues, and I'd never taken thyroid medicine until recently. I have anemia, and that is from my surgery not absorbing iron properly. And then I have SIRS, which is chronic inflammatory response syndrome. So I got a big pile of conditions, and then you couple changing your diet and weight loss. I couldn't tell you, but I can tell you that if it doesn't stop within a couple of months, go get your iron checked and get your thyroid checked.
Okay. Okay, so I think that's the key. It is cyclical, and so you may see some, and then it'll resolve, and it'll be like that. But if it's just there chronically for a long time, then take Adrian's advice and get those things checked. Okay, just Jason Keto, hello. There is no finish line to the journey of health. It may look different as you heal, but the journey never ends. 100% agree. Thank you, Jason. Karen. Hi, Karen. What are your next in-person events that you both are going to? What about you,
Yours,
Adrian?
Karen.
Oh, let's hear. Where's Karen's?
Karen is having a meetup. It's just a show up type of thing. It doesn't have a ticket price, which I love, and it's so quaint and smaller, and it's in Naperville, Illinois. So check Karen's account for that.
Okay.
Then later on, I'm headed to Keto Palooza, and I'm very fortunate. Oh, and I'm going to the Northeast meetup. I'm a very fortunate woman. And I would like to do the Two Crazy Keto Friendship Cruise as well. I mean, I got a wish list, you know.
Oh
How
my
about you, Anita?
goodness.
Do you do
Well,
any? Because
yeah,
they're kind of far away for you.
they're all far away from me, but going to Tennessee was just like the highlight of my year this year, maybe even of my life. I don't know. It was fantastic. And so I am going to go to the next one, which is in the fall. But there are a couple of things that in between now and then that I've been sort of playing with. And if somebody were to hold a meetup in Washington State, Oregon, or even California, they're close enough for me to go. So just throwing that out there, you guys. Come on, somebody. Or I was at a carnivore meetup last night in a local restaurant. It was so much fun. If you go, or if you get the opportunity to go, you must go if there's ever a meetup near you within driving distance or whatever.
Big or small. The smaller ones will
they're
fill your heart
fantastic.
just as much as the big ones.
100%. Valerie, where do you get DAO? I'm also Canadian. Valerie, I don't know what those initials stand for.
DAO is the enzyme I was talking about, and I get it off of FullScript, or you could get it off of Amazon, but I don't know in Canada. But those are the two sites I can get it off of, FullScript and Amazon.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Sorry, Valerie. Bonnie, if you cannot get your insulin checked. Oh, yes. Thank you for, I thought of you when we were talking about this because I knew you knew this. If you cannot get your insulin checked, you can use your triglycerides to HDL ratio per Dr. Ben Bickman. That ratio gives you an approximation of your fasting number, your fasting insulin number. Thanks for that reminder. See, this is why I have
writing
these
that
moderators.
down. Thank you, Bonnie.
Amy, thank you so much for your super chat there. Amy from the mountains of Arizona, currently battling a fire there. 71-year-old female, down 170 pounds. So many diseases gone and going. Thank you for your part of my journey. Love you. Amy, thank you for your support, and thank you for coming here to even, tell us that this is happening, because sometimes I don't get to hear, Adrian is out there. She puts herself out there to the world, and I'm out here too. And I don't always get to hear these stories of people like you. I'm so sorry that you're in the middle of this fire, though. So please stay safe. And thank you so much for coming and letting me know about your success. That is amazing. Love it. So we have a few minutes left. I wanted to give you a chance to, what would you like to leave people with? Whether it's about your journey or, things that you would like them to know, about just getting started. Like, let's say there's people here who are going, oh, I don't know if I want to do carnivore. I'm struggling. Or they've struggled a long time, like you and I both did. What do you want them to know?
Please don't give up.
Yes, I love that. That's my motto. It's my main motto. I guess like my number one biggest secret is never giving up. Never giving up.
It breaks my heart to think of all the days that I was so sad and that I just hid and that I had all this shame and I had given up. I had no hope. And if that's you, like, don't give up. You haven't tried everything yet if you haven't.
Yeah.
And I don't know that everybody has to go carnivore. That's what's really working for me.
Mm-hmm.
But if you could
Mm-hmm.
just go whole foods, no more packaged stuff, no more chemicals. They put junk in even our yogurt. So if you could just eat whole foods and give that a try and then just keep playing around and find the right balance for you. For me, it's taken 10 years to find out. For me, I just feel best if I just eat meat and give yourself some love. I think that we are being told that obesity is a choice. I think that your metabolism is off, your hormones are off, your hunger cues are off, and we can reset those things. And there's a lot of, if you just search carnivore on YouTube, there's a lot of hope out there of people who have
Mm.
reset, who have the same genetics and they've been able to reset. So don't give up and find the right balance for you. And most likely that balance does not include packaged foods.
Yeah, I really agree with that, and I want to just piggyback on that and say too, because I'm in that age group. I'm 66, and there's a lot of things that now the doctors will say, like if you go in with your arthritis and different things like that, they're gonna say it's a normal part of aging. Don't buy it. Like it may be for you, like maybe there's something, but there's a good chance that it's not. There's a good chance that you don't need to be on these medications. And I would never tell anyone to go off their medications, but question everything is what I'm saying. Like just question it, research it. Do you need that? If your cholesterol is 1 point higher than normal, they want to put you on a statin. Like, just look into it. Don't just take it. Just because they prescribe something, you don't have to take it. You can research it and get another opinion or something. It's not normal to be a person in my age. I have friends who are on a lot of medications, and I'm on zero. It isn't normal to be even what my mom went through, all the medications she was on. It's not a normal part of aging. It's not normal to go through menopause and it has to be medicated. It really isn't. These are normal processes, and eating meat and staying away from the seed oils, the sugars, the packaged foods, all those things, the alcohol, those will all help your cause. But you can feel better than you ever did, even when you were in your 20s and 30s. And
I do. And
yeah,
another thing is if you're changing all these food things and you're not feeling better, you might need to look into the air you're breathing
yeah,
and your environment because I think they're not being honest about how toxins can affect us as well. And we're breathing that in constantly, and it
yeah.
really affects a lot of people. So clean up your air, look at your water, and eat the best, cleanest whole foods you can. And like you, so much pain went away. I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
said that, but a lot of my pain went
Yeah,
away when I stopped eating plants because they weren't inflaming me.
yeah.
And
I
the chronic
yeah.
constipation,
Oh yeah,
gone.
yeah. So many things just get resolved. And I met some people in Tennessee at that retreat that had SIRS, and it was really eye-opening to sit and talk to them. And so it's good that it's getting out there, that the air we breathe, and we need to check all these things in our homes if there's these problems that we suspect. We need to be aware of that as well. So, oh my goodness, I can't believe how fast this hour went, Adrian. I really appreciate that you came here to let the people who follow me get to know you. We do have all of your contact information. It's below in the video notes, and the moderators have been scrolling it on the screen and putting it in the chat. You have a YouTube channel, you have Instagram, all those contacts are down there. So you guys go and subscribe to Adrian's channel and follow her on Instagram, say hello to her. Thank you so much. Gonna let you close it. Final words.
The pleasure was all mine. Thank you for having me. And yeah, if you guys want to come check out my channel, I'd love to have you.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that you're here, and appreciate all you guys out there for spending your Sunday night with us. Just stay safe. And next week, we're going to talk about navigating visiting relatives or going to visit relatives now that summer is pretty much here. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks again, Adrian.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night, everybody.